I was 2 months in solitary confinement under the research and the torture. After that, in a shame trial, I was sentenced to 5 years in exile in another notorious prison. So we asked them, why you pay money for the cameras to control the students, and you don't pay money or spend money for our labs or the facilities that we need in our labs or for studies. They had a motion to the government to accept that IRGC is a terrorist group. So it was very impactful, and also the members of parties sent a message with the video, and it was very, very impactful for the people of Iran when they saw, others, parliamentarians from other countries echo their voice and ask them to please put human rights violation as the one part of your deal. Ask this government to put an end to executions. When we say that 357 people were executed in just 1 month, it is not numbers.
When you say appeasement politics, you're referring that the European or the Western governments, institutions, they were too appeasing with the Iranian government, and they were not strict enough or closing their eyes to what was actually happening.
Exactly.
Hello, Shabnam. Welcome to the podcast.
Hello, thank you for having me.
So obviously, it's great to have you on today. Now, before we get into the more broader picture, maybe the political picture, I thought it'd be a good idea for the audience to get to know you first a little bit. So maybe you could tell us a little bit about yourself. What was it like in Iran growing up, living in Iran, and what's the background?
First of all, thank you for having me. I'm Shabnam Madadzadeh, a former political prisoner from Iran. I was 5 years in different prisons of Iranian regimes because of my activities at university. I was 21 computer science student at Khwarazmi University when I was arrested. Due to my activities at university, because I was one of the leaders of students' movement, I got arrested. So after then they transferred me to notorious Evin Prison, and I was 2 months in solitary confinement under the research and the torture. After that, in a shame trial, I was sentenced to 5 years in exile in another notorious prison in Karaj, Gohardash prison, when not the notorious name of that happened 1988 massacre. And then during the prison, I experienced different. I came through face of this regime, the criminal regime. So. After 5 years, due to lots of activities about the human rights activists, Amnesty International, and my friends out of Iran for telling my name and asking for my freeze, they had to release me, and I got released. And then after prison, they didn't allow me to continue my studies, and also they didn't allow me to have a job. So I was under the control all the time. I decided to came out of Iran. It was very, very hard decision for me, but I promised to myself not for a better life. I came out not for better life. I came out to be the voice of the voiceless who I met inside prisons and all of the people in Iran. So after I came out, I started to human rights activities, especially about the death penalty. And I every year I report about the execution and also situation of prisoners at United Nations sessions, different sessions, and I have close corruption with the special reporters on Iran and also the fact-finding mission about Iran. and also the president of the International Association Women for Justice in Luxembourg.
So you said you were a student back then, and you started to protest the government. So what exactly at the time did you protest, and what was the moment when you realized, oh, this is going to cost me my freedom? So how did that turn out in reality?
Uh, in Iran, there are different lots of different situation outside Iran that I experienced here, have experienced during years. You know, in university at universities, we didn't have any freedom of speech. We didn't have any choice to uh, chance to choose our the administration or have the to tell our voice or our or spirit our the truth. So we all the time we were under the control. You know, it was the some rules that just related this government. Nobody can believe that the separation between girls and boys in classrooms or in some activities. Yes, they are all the time happening in Iran at universities, and also we were suffering from lack of facilities at university. So we started to this, at that time, some of the rules changed. Again, it was against the students. So we started to protest against these rules that came from the government to push pressure. You know, we are under control at university. They are all of the universities are covered with the cameras. So we asked them why you pay money for the cameras to control the students, and you don't pay money or spend money for the our labs or the facilities that we need in our labs or for studies. About our self-service or some of these parties, it was a very awful. So we started to protest against this, some of the rules, and mm, it was just activities. You know, we started chanting against the administration about at the administrations of the universities, and you know, it is the in Iran the students are the top of the uh, society, and they started to raise awareness about the society and ask people to protest against some rules in country, all of the at the about the all of the governments. So we chanted against the government dictatorship. We chanted down with dictators, and this is related to the government. Because of that, it's very important in Iran when the uprising started, all of the eyes on universities. When they started, we say, okay, it will be spread around the country. So when we chanted against the government, it sent a clear message. It's not just the activities inside the university, it is about all of the rules against the government. Um, about my thinking about RSET, during those time, we recognized some of other classmates or friends in other universities got arrested. They had great uprising to they should be released. From that time, I recognizing, okay, maybe I will be arrested too, and it is the cost that we chose.
How did that happen in practice? Did someone from the government come and they just took you to jail? Did you have some sort of process, or how did that go in reality?
For me, it was happened out of the university. You know, in some cases they cannot come inside the university, but they have very close corruption, very close work with the administration of the university. So when I came out from university, they arrested me. I took a taxi to go to one of the meetings that related to our movement. They stopped taxi, and the forces of the intelligence service arrested me, and so sending me in a army place,
In the
and
jail.
so
Yeah.
then and then I was transferred to the Evin Prison because my university was at Karaj. It was 1 hour far from Tehran, Evin Prison, and they transferred me to the Evin Prison.
So, so what happened in jail then? How were you treated? What did you experience while you were living in the prison?
It was at first it was I scared, and because that I thought about, okay, my family didn't know where I am, and so what should be happen for them, and how they can realize that I'm here. So and then when I transferred to the even prison, I transferred to the jail that's related to the intelligence service that's called 209. There are lots of solitary confinement there, and they put me one of them, and it was the number was, I can remember, 15. There's the Yes, it was in the 5 cell in the first corridor.
You were in
Yeah,
cell
the
50.
police.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
and so it was 2 and 3 meters, just without anything, just carpet, the dirty carpet on the ground, and they bring all of my things that related to me, and just gave me one set clothes, and the lamp was put on the wall, and all the time was turned on, and they also took my watch that I couldn't recognize the time. It is one of the one of the ways that I want to torture.
break you, yeah, psychologically.
Yeah, mental, psychological, and you cannot recognize what time is it, and after time and time, after day and day.
How long were you in solitary confinement?
I was about 3 months.
3 months. Okay. And so what was a typical day looking like? So you were just spending time in your jail, or did they do other things? So what did that look like?
They took me to the interrogators and to interrogation, and the interrogator asking questions and put up pressure and torture. It was in some cases, but it took 10 hours, and but it was, it is complicated. When I was at cell, I think they put me, without you're alone, and they put me 20 days without asking me any question, or taking me to
So
the
sometimes you would just
interrogation.
spend days without any interaction.
Yeah,
Okay.
exactly. And you just wanted to speak with someone because
Of
you are
course.
alone. You cannot
Yes.
hear anybody's. But it was at that time I thought, oh, it's not the first time. I'm not the first person, and I will not be the last one if this government will continue and not overthrow. So, and also I remember the memories of those who had spent this time after the execution, because I had chance to read about some stories about the former political prisoners. So I decided to behave like them,
Okay.
to
To behave
get
like the
energy.
prisoners.
the previous political
Previous. So
prisoners.
how did they behave?
I remember their memory as they said, okay, we had, I had scheduled on my day, starting to remembering my uh, lessons in at universities, and after that, starting to uh, have exercise, and then started to cleaning that very clean cells and starting to singing something.
So think about something positive, do something positive, probably.
Exactly, and believing that they wanted to break me, and I don't allow them to see this. I decided to have my energy, and all the time have good mood, and also another reason that I can do it, it was thinking about the members of uh, resistance movement. In Iran, it's not that we just started uprising. Before 1979 revolution, we had we have a chance. We had movement, resistance movement, who overthrowing the Shah's dictatorship. And after 1979, they continue to fight against this religious dictatorship. So we have it, even though they had it forbidden all the time during in Iran, but with the secret ways, we could find some ways to learn from them and about them also, and continue and follow the ways and the lessons about how we can fight. And I thought, okay, I'm not alone. Thousands of people in this movement are echo my voice, or also have this impact, so I'm not alone. And okay, right now I'm alone, but I think about I have back in my and some others out of here are my voice. So because of that, when I came out of prison, decided to be the voice of the voiceless, I understand how is important and how is invaluable for prisoners.
So while you were imprisoned, did you ever regret taking this stance or being so vocal, or did you always have the resilience to say, I'm trying to get through this, and I stand by what I believe in?
Yeah, never again, never ever, because uh, I I thought, as I told, I came to a place of this regime. Yes, I was in solitary confinement. It was as a torture. I understand. Okay, they just saying something, but they committed crime. And what's going on me is crime. It's not so very, I cannot, when I saw and I had this experience, I cannot say, okay, I regret, but it's the thing, and it's happened for thousands and thousands of people in Iran. So, okay, I endured this torture, this moment, this cost my life. But I can say the next generation, they cannot re-experience this, and I can guarantee with this cause the others in the next generation will not experience. So with this goal, I could continue those times.
You said the Iranian government is committing crime or has committed crimes. What crimes specifically are most prominent in your mind?
The solitary confinement is a crime. Putting people without knowing about their families, about the things just going on without any single moments of that time. It is a crime. We call it white torture, and or interrogations, and any the pushing pressure and torture that they had. For me, that is a crime, because they wanted me to confess against the
So they wanted you to retract.
resistance.
They wanted you to
Yeah,
distance yourself from this.
yeah, this, and also they wanted me to say regret, and they wanted me to say that I'm connected to the, and to say against the resistance movement. And so they 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 wanted me to confess in front of the camera, that we see a lot new, that nowadays we see that lots of the arrested, who were arrested, are these government spirit, they confess their, that the video of the confess that they are, I understand how they are under the pressure and torture, that they saying about confessing against themselves. You know, they wanted us to confess against ourselves, that we are connected to the I don't know, other countries, foreign countries, or something like this. So all of this is gone. And also tortures, you know, putting just, they had to, they asked me to sit down in just chair and for 10 hours with blonde eyes to, and also in front of the wall, and asking and putting pressure to write what they want. And all the time they told me that we can do anything we want, and you are here alone, nobody hear your voice. So all of these moments are the crime that
So after your time in prison ended, did you feel that the isolation changed you as a person? Did you ever felt like your spirit was breaking, or did you come out even stronger at the end of this?
it yes, I came out stronger, because after solitary confinement I transferred to the ordinary jail. I met lots of the thousands and hundreds of women. Some of them were political prisoners, but most of them, majority of them, were ordinary prisoners, the women who I called them the victims of this regime. So during this child, I understood, okay, what's going on for me? Not it is just a very few percent of the crimes. You know, I met lots of the women who were tortured, and also with the very awful ways. And I started to write about them. So I started to hear their voice and listen to them and experience their news. So, and also I met some of the families, their loved ones were executed in 1988 massacres. And I understood, okay, this is not time that she started. This is a long time standing for the freedom. So because of that, I at that moment, I promise all of those women that I will be their voice. I will record their stories. I will tell their stories to all the world. And so, because of that, when I came out from the prison, I was stronger than. I decided to be the stronger than.
So now, because you talked all of these women and these victims of the government, so now you decide to become an advocate, right? So what was your next step then, concretely? Did you decide, I would assume, to leave Iran, right?
Yeah, as I told, it was not a choice to uh, leaving Iran, because I wanted to be in Iran, to be active, to experience the first hand what's going on, to be ported in the for other uprisings, attending uprising, and or getting in touch with the in person with in with the families of the prisoners who I met them. But as I told, I couldn't do anything inside Iran. They had, I was under control, and all the time they called me to go to the intelligence service places to explain something. So I understood. I realized, okay, I cannot do anything. So because and for more activities to continue, I decided to come out Iran. So the first step was I joining to the movement, that I know them, I trust them, and I know they have experience. They they can teach me how can do this responsibility. It was very I right now I feel very heavy responsibility on my shoulder. So I decided to be with those who have this experience and can help me to do my responsibility. First, that I joining the National Council Resistance of Iran movement, that there are coalitions of different groups of the oppositions, and then started to be to testify what I saw, and also be the voice of the people inside Iran and also in prison.
So then you moved to Switzerland. Is that correct?
Yeah.
Okay, and then you created your own organization. Is that right?
And not the first that I started to connect with the different people, Iranians around Europe, and work with them. And also in Luxembourg, also we have the very great Iranian community, and I know them from Iran. So I started to we have organized there, and so we made an organization about women, and we have activities.
So currently, before I want to kind of talk to you about the big picture, obviously about the things that are going on right now in Iran. Maybe before we go there, maybe you can describe how power works in Iran, right? Because as Westerners, I think we're sometimes a little bit detached, how things operate in other systems in other countries. So could you speak to that?
In Iran, power is in one person, supreme leader, Ali Khamenei, and also the IRGC, and the private, we can call IRGC the Revolutionary Guard Corps, the private force of supreme leader, because Iran has army, all of the countries has army, but the IRGC is not the governmental army. It is a private army for supreme
And they
leader.
enforce the law in that sense.
Yeah, exactly. And all the economies and all the things related to the Iran and the security, all the things are their hands. And supreme, and also it's a very joke that every 4 years Iranian government say that we have election, presidential election, but it's very joke. That's because some
They're
of the
fake
people.
elections.
Exactly, because it is very laughing that because most of the people who wanted to be the presidents should be write their names in a list, and this list should be the choice first with the parliament, that we say that all of the members has been chosen by supreme leader.
So if I understand you correctly, all the president, all the government is in fact chosen by the Ayatollah. Did I understand correctly?
The candidates. So when they choose the candidates, the people can vote to two or three.
But all the candidates
people
are in fact chosen by. Okay, now I understand.
Yeah,
Oh, okay.
and they are choose what they want. Okay, who they want, and it's not very election. And at the end, after voting, or the people all the time they boycott them, but at the end they just with manufactured they chose what who they want.
Right.
It's
right.
not the election. It's a selection.
Yes.
Exactly.
Yes. So there is no opposition parties in a sense that you would have.
Exactly.
Yeah. Okay.
Exactly. They're just a game to show society, and most of the time they're shown to the Western countries that we have election.
Mm-hmm. So what does obviously what does the average Iranian actually want? Because now we can go back to how the situation is right now. It seems there is a lot of desire among the Iranian population to have a different form of government, right? So what, because you talk to many people, obviously, so what's the wish, the want right now that people have?
Most of them, majority of them, they want freedom, democracy, and democratic government. They don't want anyone, another supreme leader. They don't want to change the one dictator to another. That they don't want to. They want to have. They want to have this power to change what they don't want. They have look like the other countries that they have the true election, and they wanted to have their representative. So, and they are directly reject any kinds of dictatorship. As you told that they may be in this uh, skies of the politics in Iran. In some cases, they say, okay, different kinds of the government people of Iran want. No, they want just this democratic republic to choose their dignity, and also they wanted to have this chance to put away any kind of dictatorship. And they are the Republic Democratic, secular Republic Democratic. They wanted to a government to separate religions from state, and full gender equality, abolishing death penalty. The death penalty is a tool in this government to separation and oppression the people, and we have the large number of execution everywhere. So, and also they wanted to stop nuclear bombing, nuclear power, and have a great relationship based on benefits of Iran with the other countries. No enemy to find an enemy. So people of Iran want this, but unfortunately, we see, as you told, that maybe they spread these lies, that there's sounds of Shah that came out from after 4 decades that say I'm the leaders of the transitional period for the overthrowing, but as we see, it is just the cart of the division in hands of this regime to uh, prevent the revolution, people's revolution, and because he is just like a barrier in front of the revolution. And we see inside government, they say, okay, the weak enemy is better than the enemy. So this guy can play a role to divided opposition. So, and for my proof that last yesterday that another uprising started at universities.
Mhm.
Tehran University students
Yeah,
chanting
there was a big,
down uprising within a Shah or mullahs. So yes, they are reject all kinds of the dictatorship and all kinds of the oppressor. They want freedom, democracy, justice, and for the future.
So, why do you think, and at least based on the news reports that I'm hearing, and maybe you can confirm that the government has been reacting very violently. So there's been reports of hundreds of deaths among the uprisers. Why do you think the government is reacting so violently? Do you think that right now they see this as a real threat to the end of the system that they have? Even more than before, because there were protests before also, right?
Exactly, because we see, if we look at this government during last 1 year, we see that this government is its weakest point of the from starting in 1979. They lost their proxies in the region during last year. Khamenei lost its base place in region Syria after fall of Assad in Syria. They lost their power in region. So we see that they lost everything, and they are the weakest point. And also they, with the negotiation, they had negotiation, and they don't have any deal with the Western countries about the nuclear power, and nobody trusts them. So with the corruption inside the Iran, but people don't have anything. They started operating, but so they understood, okay, it is near to end of this government, and started to yes, as you see that the with the fire, opening a fire on people and killing thousands of people, because they know. I can remember one of the interrogators told me, if in prison, that there was 2009 uprising. They started when I was in prison. Started a new uprising in 2009. And the interrogator told me, if we recognize or realize that we will go to overthrow, we will kill all of you.
That he told you that.
They decided, yeah, exactly. Okay. And when I remember that, yes, they decided to kill everyone who wanted, and they wanted to, but they cannot to continue with this blood. People see, and people have seen, and the blood in the streets, and they watch every day in the streets that are covered by the blood of their beloved one. And we see, after the new term started, the new semester started, brave students started another uprising, but the government and the security forces, we can directly say Khamenei, thought that they can spread the fear with this killing, but what we see in Iran is not the fear. It is anger that the people of Iran decided to overthrow this regime, because they lost a lot.
So, and obviously, there's also a lot of talk about, or a lot of the Western world now is, they're actually affirming their support, at least publicly. They say, do you think that now there's even, the US obviously also got involved. Do you think that the pressure from outside, from the Western world, helps, or does it harm the protests?
I think the pressure very helpful. But what kind of pressure? We believe that.
What kind of pressure do you see, or would you like to see different type of pressure?
Yeah, it is that maybe, as we see from the, as I told, the narrative of Shah sons and their supporters say the United States should attack Iran with a war or something like this. We say and believe that war cannot overthrowing this regime, as we see that 12 days of war that they couldn't overthrow this regime, and this regime used this war to also to
mobilize,
suppression, mobilize and suppression a lot. And they, all of the protesters said that they thought that protesters are related to the Western countries or something like that. But we say no war, no appeasement, overthrowing this regime by the people of Iran and a well-organized organization, because we know that there are or a well-organized organization on the ground in Iran, the resistance units. They are the simple units, 4 or 5 people. They are fighting, and they are every day have activities against this regime, and they are well organized around the country, inside the country, and they can. But what kind of the pressure that the Western government do is the most important thing is recognizing that these the people of Iran to overthrowing this regime, to fight with this regime. In international law and United Nations, we have at this point that we wanted to Western country to recognizing this right for people of Iran to fight against this.
When you say recognize, When you say recognize, what do you
because
mean?
because if they recognizing the fact that this government cannot uh, attack as a terrorist against people. They say when people started to defend themselves because they don't have anything, they are unarmed, and they have and people started to they have this right to defend themselves against their armed forces. When they have this right, they are not terrorists. They're just the people who fight for their rights. And we have this in international law and also in the United Nations uh, articles. And another thing is that shut down the embassies, all the countries. If they wanted to help people of Iran, shut down the
So
embassies.
you think that
And
an international call to say to ban the Iranian embassies, that would put real pressure on the government?
exactly,
Okay.
because the embassies of these countries are not are all related to intelligence service, related to IRGC. They are spy from diaspora, and they are sending terrorism with these embassies. And so it is the time to shut down and uh, cut all of the connections with this country, isolate this government. If they do that, the people of Iran have power to overthrow this regime. We see that they're brave. They have very they have decided to this, but when they see, okay, they have some countries have some connections, or if this government put in a corner, it is the way that we can overthrow this regime.
So do you think, and realistically, obviously, even with the right amount of pressure from outside and inside, do you think that the protests right now will eventually lead to a change in government? Is that realistic for you, or do you think maybe it will still take a few more years to get there?
What we see in government and what we see the brave acts of from people, especially after bloodthirsty issues, it is reality that when people sending me the message, there are blood in the streets. They saw this the river of the blood. They say me that there are river of the blood in the streets. People saw and these kinds of brutality, but came out again. The youngest protesters came out in the and protest right now at universities. So we see, okay, they have the more courage, they have the courage that overthrowing, and this government lost their legitimate inside Iran. They cannot continue in this way. And also after putting IRGC as a terrorist group in the EU, it is very helpful, and we can see that their its impact on this government. So yes, I'm realistic. Yes, I believe we can overthrow this regime during this year. Maybe it's not take a lot.
Also, I wanted to talk also about your perception on the Western world specifically, because you're obviously, as you told us before, you're very involved right now with organizations representing young Iranians, but also other Iranians. How do you feel like you're perceived in the West? Are people receptive to what you say, or are they confused? So? What's the typical reaction for you when you are publicly campaigning for the rights of the Iranian in this protest?
It is for the public of the Europe, and when we spoke with them, and it is very acceptable for them. We had in February, 7th of February, we had very great demonstration in Berlin, and we saw how the public, they joining us and supporting us. And when we speak about them, they join us. Students, especially young, is when we show the pictures of who were killed in streets in Iran and or the others, as they accept to joining us and be their voice, and also about some politicians, especially in Luxembourg, we had very great uh, act from Luxembourgish Parliament. They put IRGC, a terrorist group. They had a motion to the government to accept that IRGC is a terrorist group. So it was very impactful, and also the parties, the members of parties sent a message with a video, and it was very, very impactful for the people of Iran when they saw, okay, others, parliamentarians from other country echo their voice. Yes, it was great, and I hope we can continue in the other countries and also in Luxembourg to have great supports again.
Are there things that you still think Westerners get wrong about Iran, where they have maybe wrong ideas about how Iran actually is?
Yeah, from myself, behind myself, from myself, it's appeasement policy
What does that
was the
mean?
wrong things.
What do you mean
The
by
negotiation during these 4 years. You know, the first time when the NCRI, National Council of Resistance of Iran, is the first group that exposed the nuclear, that the Iranian government started to making a bomb. It's the nuclear power who exposed that. It was the NCR. It was 2003. When they exposed it, we had this, we wanted to see that they are behave strongly and firm policy, but they started to negotiate with this government, and they took time. They gave this to time to continue their brutalities inside Iran, and they closed their eyes on the human rights inside Iran.
Mm-hmm.
It
Now,
is
are you
very
talking
clearly
about
that I can say
who closed the eyes? The
all the
West.
Western countries,
The okay.
all the West, EU,
okay.
and also United States, and all of the people, all of the country, all of the governments who decided to have appeasement with this regime during 4 decades, and about the about the policy, about the proxies. Or National Council of Resistance of Iran, NCRI, was the first group that exposed the proxies in region, in Iraq especially, with the names, with all of the IDs, but they decided to close their eyes.
Okay, so when you say appeasement politics, you're saying essentially, if I understand this correctly, that the European or the Western governments, institutions, they were too appeasing with the Iranian government, and they were not strict enough or closing their eyes to what was actually happening.
Exactly. And the foreign policy, what is this foreign policy? As I told, they don't want to close eyes for the benefits comes from Iran, for the oil, for the every economic benefits. We wanted to see the blood of history and cut these connections, stop these negotiations, stop the benefit, stop the every deal that they had with these brutal governments.
So
And
they
see.
Go ahead.
They see what's going on in Iran. They see there are lots of the thousands of the young generation were killed. So they cannot say, okay, we see that, but we have our deal with this government.
I would assume that sometimes it's difficult for you to know that, okay, I have to, when I talk to Western institutions, organizations, I have to bring them on my side because they might not naturally gravitate towards my side. I guess it's the best way I can put it.
Yes, it is not that choosing this side also. Yeah, it's the humanity asking. I think it's not just the politics or saying we want to just ask them, see or watch this sense as humanity's sense. and not politics, and ask them to please put human rights violation as the one part of your bill. Ask this government put an end to executions. When we say that the 357 people were executed in just 1 month, it is not numbers. When we ask them behind the politics, and so I can say it's just this.
So, and just to the end, I'm asking you a hypothetical question, obviously, but I would assume it's something you've been thinking about. If, let's say, the regime of Iran fell tomorrow, what would come next for you, ideally?
For us, NCRI has a plan. It is and also they have we have also the Maryam Rajavi as a president elect for the institutional period, and it will be a 6 months. And we are promised to that Maryam Rajavi on the NCRI promised to have the free and fair election during these 6 months, and to people chose their representative for the constitutional law, and also they really have the constitutional assembly for the next 3 years to so it is. And also Anjabi has 10-point plan for the free one. That means that secular republic based on as the gender equality, abolishing death penalty, put an end to nuclear power, have a great relationship with the other countries, and put an end to the Sharia law and the human rights based on the uh, principles of the United Nations. And also the most important thing is separation with the uh, religion states, because it's more important, because this government use religious, especially Islam, as a suppression tool for suppression. So we wanted a democratic republic, but based on uh, separation with religion in the state, and it's the call of the people of Iran. So yes, we have a plan. We have the people inside Iran, and also the resistance units, and also the thousands and thousands of supporters, and for the professionals around the world, especially in the United States, that they are the very top levels of the universities of top level of their jobs professionals, and they all of this promise to came around to be to help people, to assist people to renew, to rebuild Iran as well.
Shabnam, I want to thank you really very much for the personal account of your own experience and your great insight into what's happening right now in Iran and what you hope to accomplish in the future. So yeah, it's been really nice having you on the podcast. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much for having me. It's a great opportunity for me to be the voice of that I promised
Thank,
prisoners inside in Iran. Thank you so
thank you.
much.
On February 28th, the US and Israel led co-joint attacks on Iran. And now we're going towards 2 months of conflict or war, with many parties involved, obviously now also with geostrategic implications for the whole world. But specifically for your situation, because we already talked about your experience, your lived experience in Iran, and your desire for change, going from a theocracy to a more democratic form of government. So how do you see this whole situation now going almost of 2 months of conflict?
I thought before that the war and no war, no appeasement can serve this Iran to the democratic change, because we believe that this regime not be overthrowing but bombing or giving time but appeasement, because of the experience, their experience during 4 decades shows that we believe that overthrowing this regime going through by the Iranian people and their organized resistance. So when we see that, this regime all the time welcome to the war or something like this, because they can control most easily inside the country. We see that this regime is very treated that they don't see external bombing as a threat for their existence, but the organized resistance that they're starting our other uprising is the more threat for them. So we see after the death of Khamenei, they took all of the forces in the streets because of the fearing of the starting other uprising. So it is this things that goes on.
So, do you think that because obviously the leader, the spiritual leader, Khomeini was killed, but he was indeed replaced by his son? I mean, at least that's what we hear. Although I guess it's not officially confirmed. Do you fear that, in a way, this situation has given new life to the Iranian government in terms of resistance, and is taking focus away from internal change?
I think no, because I believe that the ruling regime, which faced a nationwide uprising the past January, is not at the brink of overthrow. It has never been as fragile and weak and vulnerable than it is today. The regime does not, as I told, it's not that they don't see that this war as their threat, but we saw that but this war attacked them. We just say yes, they got very weaker than ever, but they don't be this war don't serve the regime for changing. It is a duty of people of Iran, and we see that what's going on inside. They have lots of the war between themselves, and they are not have the and they face it with the crisis, lots of the crisis inside country. But no, I believe they are weaker than ever, and because of that, their fear, where they face lots of the fear. We see that why that what is so sign that I can give, for example, is they started to executions. The highest number of executions, especially political prisoners, and especially the members of resistance units and members of Mujahideen Khalq, the main enemy of this regime. And during past 3 weeks, they executed 8 members of this organization, and also 8 other protesters who were very brave stood against them. So you can imagine when a government faced a external war, why they are started to killing their own people. So they see these own people as a priority enemy for themselves. So when they see, and every day the judiciary, head of the judiciary came through the interview and telling to the judge that go very fast, do faster than ever, and judge them, and or go to do these documented protesters on all of the states. And so every day we face a very new execution. So it is that a very clear sign that this regime faced very crisis inside Iran, not the outside.
Do you think, because right now obviously there is a certain element of uncertainty tied to what the future brings, right? So because right now the war is ongoing, it's a little bit of uncertainty. Right now, we have the Strait of Hormuz, and we have obviously, the U.S. and allies are not allowed into or out of the Gulf area. So can you predict what will happen eventually? Do you know how the war is going to end? Is it going to work well for Iran? Is it going to be good for the U.S.? If, let's say, the U.S. wins the war and Israel, do you think they will have you transition to a more democratic form of government? So how do you see this play out?
Nobody, I think, all of us who are involved in this war cannot predict how it's going on. But you see, but what's the clear that the transitional for the democratic government cannot be happen without overthrowing this regime. We cannot say that we can, because after 4 decades, it is very clear inside this regime there is not a reformist or democratic people. And when we say that, okay, extent or regime change has happened, it's not true, because when we say they shut down the internet, we have no connected inside Iran, people face the very crisis, the economic crisis, and the economics is going on the destroyed, and also, as I told, execution, suppression. There are more than, and they said very recently rules that they announced, this government announced that everybody uses free internet, or the people, because the people started to finding VPNs or something like that to connect some of them, not lots, a few people could connect it, and they say, okay, it's a crime. Okay, but you can see that how they can be regime change happens. So the end of this war was going on, but we say the end of this regime will be happen by changing, by overthrowing this regime, all of this regime, not just part of this regime, because all of them was together and they wanted to save the entire regime. So what is the demanding, or what can help for this government to announce that this regime shows with the fingers the enemies? As I say that they started to, beyond the war, they started to execution the members of the organized resistance. So they show their enemies and they say they are the more priority of our enemies. If the countries, the Western countries, the solution is that acknowledging the rights of people of Iran for overthrowing this regime, or at the 28th, on February 28th, the National Council of Resistance of Iran announced the establishment of the provisional government to transfer sovereignty to the people of Iran, and to establish a democratic republic based on the resistance 10-point plans. And we say that there is an exiled government, there is as I told, provisional government. So when they announced that and acknowledging the rights of this government, provisional government, it will be helpful for all of the people of Iran, and also peace in the region. So one step is this, and then they should, with the negotiation, we say all of the execution must be included in all of the negotiations, saving the lives of people of Iran, and also force this regime to stop the cutting Iranian for all of the world, and what shut down the internet. They all have rights to use internet because it's the 21st century, and nobody can say that they shut down internet for their peoples. So the solution is this: the solution is peace and freedom. That our announcement is the peace and freedom for Iran, and we ask and call for all of the Western country who wants the peace in religions and who wants the freedom for Iran. That is the support this privileged government for transitional period, and also it will be the peaceful solution for all of the who involved in this war.
So you mentioned the prospects of transition of government and the documents that were formed. How do you see the role of the U.S.? Because I think they said, at least officially, I think they said that they're not interested in involving themselves in the new forming of a government. But history, has had many cases where the U.S. Indeed did or were involved. Yeah, I mean, even in Iran themselves with the installment of the Shah. So, how do you see that? Do you think that the U.S. will not be involved, or do you wish that they would be involved? So, how do you see a eventual
No, what
transition?
they can do is, as I say, that the war cannot overthrow this regime. But we say that there is an alternative, and they say, we as alternative say, we can overthrow this regime if they allow us. They just involving the war, and we see the war is not solution. We told all during the 2 decades, we told no to war, no to appeasement, overthrowing this regime by the people of Iran and their organized resistance. And we see during four decades, they started to, after I think that it was 2003, that the first announcing and exposing that NCRI told all the world that this regime are starting to establishment of the nuclear power. It was the first time that NCRI exposed this, revealed this. And so from that time, we say don't appeasement with this regime. It's not the appeasement. Firm policy can be. But they started to appeasement. After appeasement, the result of appeasement, we said it is not the solution, but the result of appeasement, we see that they go through the war. And we told them war is not solution. The solution is to overthrowing this regime, but they don't acknowledging this right for people of Iran. We told we have power. We don't need your money or weapons. We just wanted to use their policies or something like that in the United Nations, or all of the things that is the capacity of the international law to acknowledging acknowledging the rights of Iranian people to overthrowing this regime. Because we see when they don't happen, they can use as a terrorism or something like this. So there is a solution. There's an alternative, and we can do this
But
as we showed
can we reach this solution now that we entered into war?
Exactly. They are going on inside Iran, because every day the resistance units has their activities inside Iran. And 1 week, 5 days before the starting this war, 250 of members of resistance units attacked the Khamenei's headquarters, the place that is very more secure than anywhere in Iran. So they attacked these headquarters, and 100 of them arrested or killed by this regime, but other 150 of them came back to their places. But they show that they have power to attack these regime places and headquarters. And despite all of the arrests, despite all of the execution that's going on, despite all of the suppression that we are facing every day is very higher than ever, they do their activities, they duties every day, and more than ever, the young generation, Z generation, joined this resistance. So we saw a movement inside Iran going through, and they show their power, but if something happens that changes the past.
So from my perspective, because I remember, so in the previous interview or in the previous question you went very in depth about how the people of Iran can affect change and how you're very hopeful based on the protests and development that happened before February 28th. What I would be concerned now is that because we now have this war with geopolitical implications, this will take focus away from the internal attempt of reform, from the protests that we saw previously. So don't you think that, in a sense, that is more of a negative development for your end goal?
Exactly. Yes. But the war is the negative. It's when, as I said, that because of that they took all of the forces in the streets every day. And okay, it's hard for the resistance members to attack, to have their registered do activities inside Iran. So it's yes, because this regime uses say, okay, we are under attack, uses the situation of the war to mass killing. What's going on the 1988? They use the situation of war for more suppression. So we faced in certain thousand political prisoners executed. Exactly, they do the same. They are doing the same, that they are every day. We know the names of who are arrested, and we are not lots of the names that we don't know where are they, and it is unappeared. So we see that every day they are arresting the resistance member. Every day we release the names of who were arrested, because of it is a very hard situation, because internet shut down. The connection
Shut down.
inside Iran is hard. Yeah, all of this is the negative for the activities.
And I think on top of that, I think because, at least in my impression, I thought that before February 28th, sympathies were clearly in favor of the Iranian people. I think for the most part they were in favor of them overthrowing the government through internal means. But now, because this has become so global and geopolitical, I think there's people that will start to go against the US and will now in some way favor the Iranian government and forget about all the atrocities they committed internally. Don't you think that's also an issue?
This regime have done lots of the criminals that people of Iran don't go to support this regime anywhere. But as I told, it will be hard for them. Situation goes so hard to them to say that no, the people they have just some few forces to support them and uses this, say, or paying the money or something like that, that's using the economics to support them. But people of Iran pay a lot against this regime, so they do not follow or support regime against United States or against this war. But they say they wanted to overthrow this regime, and they happy they are killing of Khamenei, but it's not the happy of the situation what's going on, or nobody happy for the bombing on the scene. But they show to the world that they want to pay price for overthrowing the regime that they have done before. We saw that the past January, they bravely go out and fight against this regime, and they show that they cannot. And also during mass killing on January, where all of the world show the brutality of this regime. But after the war, everything, something happened that are covered this brutality, and we couldn't speak about our prisoners, our situation, because all the news goes through the war.
That would be my
Nobody
next question.
is speaking.
How do you see the media coverage right now?
Yes, media go all of, because the most important things, they wanted to all of the things going through the war, but the situation of the prisoners, suppression, and what's happening inside Iran is not covering with the medias. And you see, we may face the 8 execution of members of this resistance. But inside Iran, everything changed. But people face the brave people who stood against this regime. And this spirit, very courage, inspiring that this situation, there are people who stood against, even in prisons, and they are not regret. They are not, and they send the message that we pay price for Iran freedom. So this spirit, hope, this spirit, courage and inspiration. So it is good inside Iran, the people of Iran, but for the outside, the courage of media, we don't see this. It's just about war and about what's going on, and so that's what the negative points of other negative points of the war is this.
So you obviously mentioned, you said the Iranian government right now is at its weakest points, or at its weakest point. Are you still hopeful that you will accomplish the goal despite all the war implications and everything that's going on right now?
Yes, of course, because I said before that the science shows us when this with this because with this war, as I told, people of Iran paid a lot against this regime. For their fights for freedom, and they don't support this regime anywhere. And so with this situation, with shutting down internet, with the situation of the poverty and the economics corruption, and they saw what's going on. They saw that all of the monies went through the bombing and nuclear power, and they say there's not valuable. Why we fight for the others for our not nuclear power or something like that? There's not this war for us or the Iran is for the survival of this regime. So inside Iran, the situations are going to another uprising and or the overturn this regime. So I think yes, it's very close. We are close to.
So let's say we accomplish this goal, and Iranian government will have to forfeit, and there will be a new government in place. Would you prefer to leave this completely to the Iranian people, or would you
Exactly.
support involvement from other parties, such as the U.S., in terms of setting up a new government, but more democratic?
No, the people of Iran, as I told, this alternative for experience of more than 4 decades has this capacity to establishment provisional government, and also for the transitional period it is maximum 6 months, and they can this capacity to have the free fair election to people chose their representative for the and for the transitional for their assembly and for their rights. After that, they can transfer all of the power to the representative of people that they chose, so they can establish the neo government and republic. What they say is that in this case, people of Iran don't want to go past and don't want to stay in this government, and they say no to the dictator Shah and all the mullahs, and so we wanted to all the people wanted to secure a republic for Iran, and we wanted to give power to people of Iran. As Maimur Rajavi, the president-elect of National Council of Resistance, recently told, we don't power for ourselves. We wanted to transfer all of the power to the people of Iran.
Mm-hmm. So just a technical question. So as of right now, you said there's a convention in place. They already set up a document for the transition. Is that correct?
They have the document for, yes, they have the transitional, they have this capacity to free election, to constitutional assembly, and therefore all power will be transferred to the representative of the people of
my question
this
is,
assembly.
yeah,
Okay.
is the process already in place, or is that something that they want to do once the?
No, we want to not
Yeah.
stop, because after overthrowing this regime, we said we guarantee this period. We guarantee that all of the power transferred to the people of Iran, and during 6 months.
Okay, so basically, you have something in place. Once the government will be no longer in place, you can enter this period of transition.
Exactly, because we have the assemblies of the exile government, as the NCRI is, and their capacities to doing this transitional period.
Okay, sounds good. Yeah, thank you again for taking the time.